Hello lovelies, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Ruth Fade. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to cut and sew a snatch waistline maxi jumpsuit with side pocket. It is also a cut together jumpsuit with no waistline joining and a belt at the back. This tutorial is very beginner friendly as I'll be showing you the important details on how to make this jumpsuit. So for the making of this jumpsuit, I was going to be making use of an ankara. This is actually a 6-yard ankara which I ended up using just 3 yards, a zipper, a chalk, and of course a measuring tape. So I've gone ahead to fold in my fabric, as you can see, into two, and I'm just going to take in my body measurement, which was from the top to my waistline, which was 16 inches, my hip line, which was 24 inches, and of course taking the full length in which I want this jumpsuit to be, which was 57 inches. I went ahead to add an extra 1 inch to it for the folding at the down, making it 58 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead to mark, and after doing that, I'll go ahead to take in my armhole measurement, which was just 8 inches, and I'll just go ahead to mark. So after doing that, at the center of this fold, I was going to go in to mark 1.5 inches from the top right to the end of this jumpsuit. So let's just go in and mark. So the reason for this 1.5 inches I'm marking at the center of this jumpsuit, it's going to be serving as a front crouch extension for the front 1.5 inches. Initially, while folding my fabric from the start, I actually used my hip measurement, which was the largest measurement of my body part, and I added an extra 1.5 inches, which I know will be serving as a front crouch. So after doing that, I'm going ahead to marking my shoulder measurement, which was 7 inches, and also I'm just going to take in my body measurement, my bust, which was 9 inches, my waist measurement, and also my hip measurement. So you just go in and take those for yourself. So after doing that, I'll just go in to connect the lines. As you can see, just going to connect the lines. Please take note, while taking this body measurement, I didn't add any extra allowance. So after doing that, I've gone ahead to roll my shoulder line, as you can see, and I'll go ahead to take in my neck width, which was 3 inches, and the depth in which I want the neckline to be. It was actually going to be a V neckline, so I'll just go in by 7 inches and connect from that 7 right up to the width of my neckline. So I'll just go ahead and mark in my shoulder slope, which was 1 inches downward, and connect it to my neck width. So after doing that, I want to mark in my armhole curve. So just tape from your shoulder slope to the armhole line, get the midpoint and go in by 1/2 inch, and then connect. As you can see, connect from your bust point to that 1/2 inch you went in to the top at your shoulder slope to get a perfect armhole curve. So after doing that, I want to take in a flap length for this jumpsuit. So I was going to place my tape from my waistline 12 inches downward to get in my flap length. Because it's a jumpsuit, we are going to be making use of a 12 inches. So after doing that, you just want to connect. As you can see, just give it a slight curve outside that 1.5 inches we've given before. As you can see, I just use my free hand to curve in for my waist to that flap extension, and I'm just going to go in to extend my hip line right to the end of my jumpsuit with my free hand, as you can see. Please take note, I didn't go in, I didn't go out, I just went straight from my hip line right to the end of this band because I want this to be very free on me. So after doing that, you want to go in and add in your allowance for this band. So for the bust, I added just 1 inches allowance, that's the bust, and for the waistline I added an extra 2.5 inches because I want this band to be free at my waist. And I did the same thing for the hip side, I added an extra 2.5 inches allowance. Please take note, when I'll be stitching this with just 1 inches allowance and leaving the extra 1.5 for the ease. So I'm just going to use my free hand to curve that down. So you're just going to use your hand to trace that and curve that right to the end of your jumpsuit. After doing those, you want to go ahead and cut your jumpsuit for the front. So please just take note, just follow the way I'm cutting and just do your So after cutting, I've gone ahead to folding my back pieces and I've traced out the side, as you can see. So it's just going to go ahead to marking my back crotch extension, which I'm extended the back by 3 inches. Just going to mark in an extra 3 inches for the back crotch extension, and from the hip I'm just going to go in by just 2 inches. Just watch what I'm doing. I extended the back crotch extension with that extra 3 and went up from the hip by just 2 inches and just connect that 2 inches right to the top. For that 2 inches, that 2 inches will be serving as my zipper allowance as well, and also be serving as the freeness at the back. When we're going to be stitching this, all this will just fall into place. So as you can see, I'm just going to connect that crotch extension right up to that hip point. As you can see, just do same yours as this. After doing that, I'm just going to slant in for my crotch extension down to the end of this band, and I'll just slanting with my free hand. As you can see, please just do same for yours. Just going to use my free hand to slant. Did mine. So after doing that, I want to go in by the net width for my back. I went in same by 3 inches, and for the depth at the back I just went in by 1 inches and connect towards that 2 inches we had for our zipper allowance and just cut through, as you can see. So you just go ahead and cut yours same way I did here. So after doing so, I didn't just find a need to just cut out that down part. I just had to leave it because I want this band to be free, so I just left it there. So after doing that, we'll just go ahead to cut. We'll be using the same fabric for the lining at the top of this jumpsuit. Just place yours as I did same. So I'm just going to trace the top part same as you can see. Just go ahead and trace yours. So after doing that for the back, I'll just go ahead and do same for the front. Place my front pieces and trace same as. So after cutting the waist, we want to go into cutting the belt of our jumpsuit. So I will just go ahead and fold my fabric into 2, as you can see, and mark out 2.5 inches. Initially, I want the depth of this belt to be 2 inches, but I'll be marking 2.5 inches, half inches for a stitching allowance. I mark out my length as preferred by you. I'm just going to mark in my own preferred length, and after doing that, I'll just go into cut. One, I'll go in again and fold my fabric into 2 because I want this belt to be 2. We'll be placing the 2 belt at the 2 sides of our waistline, and I'll just trace out same thing as the first one and just cut in. As you can see what I'm doing, I'll just cut in same. So after doing that, I've gone ahead to cut in. These are my pockets. This will be serving for our pockets, and for the length of this pocket, I wanted my pocket length to be 7 inches, as you can see, and for the depth I just marked in stitch 6 inches. So after doing that, we're just going to place in our lining pieces for the front and the back, as you can see, and I'll just go ahead to stitch at the part where my hand is tracing. I'll just go ahead and stitch. So after stitching, this is what it looked like. I've gone ahead to stitch and flip it over. So this is what it's looking like, and I've gone ahead also to stitch the crotch line from the top right to the down, as you can see. So by the time you flip it, this is what it's going to be looking like. And for the back, I've done same, gone ahead to stitch in our lining turning. And for the flap area at the back, I've gone ahead to stitch from the flap and stopped where I want my zipper to start. That's I measured from the top of this back pant to where I want my zipper to stop, which was 20 inches, then top stitch from there to the end of my flap area, as you can see. And I've gone ahead to turn in my belt, as you can see. So after doing that, I'll just go ahead to place in my zipper. After putting your zipper, this is what it's going to be looking like. So after that, I'll just go ahead to take in my front piece and the back piece, side them together in order to join the shoulder. So for joining the shoulder, I'll just go ahead to insert my hand from the front shoulder, take it and grab the back and then stitch. So after stitching, this is what it's looking like, very neat from the in and the outside. So I'll just go ahead and explain for a better understanding. So you take in your front and your back like this, place your hand inside, grab in the back as well and flip it over, just as you can see, that side by side meeting each other, and then just joining it, just making sure you use your hand to arrange it so that by the time you're done stitching, it will come out very neat. So you just do same, as you can see. You just make sure you're fixing this properly. I've gone ahead to make sure that the sides are meeting each other properly, and I'll just go ahead to stitch. So after stitching, this is what it's going to be looking like. So we just go ahead to flip this to the right side to see how the outcome of this. So after doing that, this is how it's going to be looking like from the back and also from the front. Very neat. So after doing that, I want to go ahead to place in my belt. So I'll just measure from the top of this jumpsuit to my waistline, which was 16 inches. Do the same for the other sides and just trace in this with my chalk. Then after doing that, I'll just measure 1 inches from the sides. Place your tape and measure 1 inches from the side. Remember, initially when we were adding the allowance, I added 2.5 inches, saying that by the time I'll be stitching this with just 1 inches at the side. So I've gone ahead to place my belt, mark out 1 inches, and I'm just going to hand tag it to hold it there. So after doing that, I've gone ahead to mark out 1 inches, which we'll be stitching with. You can see, just mark out the 1 inch we'll be stitching with. So after marking out 1 inch, I don't want to stitch at the area in which I'll insert my pocket, so I'll just measure from my shoulder to where I want my pocket to start, which was actually 20 inches. That's below my waist. I marked in there 20 inches, then went down again by 7 inches, in which I will be using to put in my pocket. Then from there, I'll just continue tracing out that 1 inches, in which I'll be stitching, closing the side up with. So you're just going to repeat this process to the other sides. The same thing you did for the other side, you just repeat it. So if you've been watching this tutorial from the beginning right up to this point, please do well to subscribe to my channel and also turn on your notification bell so you'll be the first person to see a video whenever we upload. After doing that, I'll just go ahead to stitch. So I've gone ahead to stitch. So this is what our jumpsuit is looking like. After stitching that, I'll just go ahead to fold in the end of this pant with that 1 inches allowance we added while cutting. I'll just go ahead and fold in. So after folding the end of this jumpsuit, I'll just go ahead to stitch in that part in which my hand was tracing out. As you can see, I'll just go ahead to stitch it round that area from the beginning to the end. So just 1/2 inch allowance round it. So after stitching, this is what our jumpsuit is looking like after flipping it to the front. So you want to add in your pocket at that part in which you left open, so you just go ahead to put in your pocket. So after putting your pocket, just give your jumpsuit a good press, and this is what it's going to be looking like. So thank you for watching this video, and do well to subscribe for more tutorials.